গুৱাহাটীৰ জ্যোতি চিত্ৰবনত সপ্তম সংখ্যক চলচ্চিত্ৰম নেশ্যনেল ফিল্ম ফেষ্টিভেল চলচ্চিত্ৰমৰ উদ্যোগত 9 আৰু 10 ছেপ্টেম্বৰত জ্যোতি চিত্ৰবন প্ৰাংগণত চলচ্চিত্ৰম নেশ্যনেল ফিল্ম ফেষ্টিভেল সফলতাৰে সম্পন্ন অনুষ্ঠানত বলিউডৰ প্ৰখ্যাত চলচ্চিত্ৰ নিৰ্মাতা পৰিচালক ৰাহুল ৰাৱেল সমল ব্যক্তি হিচাপে উপস্থিত থাকে আৰু অসমৰ চলচ্চিত্ৰৰ লগত জড়িত পৰিচালক কলা কৌশলীৰ সৈতে মত বিনিময় কৰা দেখা গ'ল জনপ্ৰিয় হিন্দী সিনেমাৰ পৰিচালক ৰাহুল ৰাৱেলে মত প্ৰকাশ কৰে যে বৰ্তমান ভাৰতত বহুত সংখ্যক ফিল্ম নিৰ্মাণ হৈছে কিন্তু গুণগত মান আৰু জীৱন দৰ্শনৰ লগতে সৃষ্টিশীলতাক উপস্থাপন কৰিবলৈ ব্যৰ্থ হয় তাৰে মাজত কিছুমান পৰিচালকে ভাল কথা ছবি অৱশ্যে নিৰ্মাণ কৰি আহিছে গুৱাহাটীৰ জ্যোতি চিত্ৰবনত সপ্তম সংখ্যক চলচ্চিত্ৰম নেশ্যনেল ফিল্ম ফেষ্টিভেল চলচ্চিত্ৰমৰ উদ্যোগত 9 আৰু 10 ছেপ্টেম্বৰত জ্যোতি চিত্ৰবন প্ৰাংগণত চলচ্চিত্ৰম নেশ্যনেল ফিল্ম ফেষ্টিভেল সফলতাৰে সম্পন্ন অনুষ্ঠানত বলিউডৰ প্ৰখ্যাত চলচ্চিত্ৰ নিৰ্মাতা পৰিচালক ৰাহুল ৰাৱেল সমল ব্যক্তি হিচাপে উপস্থিত থাকে আৰু অসমৰ চলচ্চিত্ৰৰ লগত জড়িত পৰিচালক কলা কৌশলীৰ সৈতে মত বিনিময় কৰা দেখা গ'ল জনপ্ৰিয় হিন্দী সিনেমাৰ পৰিচালক ৰাহুল ৰাৱেলে মত প্ৰকাশ কৰে যে বৰ্তমান ভাৰতত বহুত সংখ্যক ফিল্ম নিৰ্মাণ হৈছে কিন্তু গুণগত মান আৰু জীৱন দৰ্শনৰ লগতে সৃষ্টিশীলতাক উপস্থাপন কৰিবলৈ ব্যৰ্থ হয় তাৰে মাজত কিছুমান পৰিচালকে ভাল কথা ছবি অৱশ্যে নিৰ্মাণ কৰি আহিছে
It's indeed a privilege that you have been in our midst, and he is actually the Rahul Rawail, and we all grew up watching his movies, Beta and Love Story, The Kite, Arjun. I remember lining up in the cinema hall just to watch his movies and to sit next to him and to moderate this interactive session. I think this is going to be one of the red letters day of my life. Thank you so very much, sir, that you have accepted our invitation and that you have been with us. So I now I'll ask everyone, like whatever, I think sir has got lots and lots to share with us. Especially, we all know that other than the movies that he had made, he has also written a book on Raj Kapoor, The Showman, and that itself is an amazing book. Some of us must have read that book, and because it shows altogether a different aspect of Raj Kapoor. And so, sir, it's indeed a privilege, and I open the house for interaction. Anybody has got an we know that you started with his as his assistant director, and this is a book which is very, very different, sir, from most of the books that we have read on film industry, filmmakers, and also. I'd just like to ask, sir, I'm leaving the questions on filmmaking to the filmmakers out here. Me as a writer, I'm inquisitive about this book, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. See, I worked with Mr. Raj Kapoor. It was a great honor to be in assistant with him. And he left a very, very, very deep impression on my mind. Whatever I've learned today, whatever I know today, is courtesy my days with him. And I thought that everybody had written a book about Raj Kapoor being the showman. He had parties here, we all know that. But Raj Kapoor, the filmmaker, the creative genius that he was, how he worked is something nobody had written about. In fact, when I decided to write the book, I went and spoke to his wife. I said, it's good that I should ask them. And I told her, I said, Krishnanti, this is what I'm going to write. And she said, Beta, you must write this book because you are the only living person who was as close to my husband as anybody else. And if you don't write about the way he worked, nobody will ever come to know how my husband worked. So it will be a great honor if this book is written. And those words actually kept me on to write about it. The whole book was written by memory. There was no notes. It was just from my mind it kept coming. And it was written in a style which was more to keep it it was written in a way more to keep it readable and more for people to be present there. You know, that's what I felt. That it's better for people to be present. And that's how the full book came about. It does not speak about Raj Kapoor's affairs or women or in his life, nothing of that kind. It only talks about Raj Kapoor, the filmmaker. It talks about his inspirations, how he made his films, how he thought about his films, how he worked with actors, all the aspects of filmmaking, plus the way his life worked on the sets. He was a big foodie, and so that's part of the book, because I don't think you read a book on Raj Kapoor without talking about his food. You know, he was a compulsive foodie. I mean, an incident with him was in the editing room. He called for pav. Pav is a bread in Bombay which is split open and you put butter and eat it. And he split open, he put butter and then he took a jalebi and put it between the pav and he started eating that. So I was shocked. So I said, "Sir, what are you doing?" He said, "There's a better way to eat this." And he dipped that in tomato ketchup and he ate that pav with the jalebi and tomato ketchup. I mean, why he did this, I don't know, but he had these quirks. I guess all geniuses have some kind of quirk in them, and he probably was the only filmmaker who had a 360-degree knowledge of all aspects of filmmaking, which have been very, very detailed in the book. Which I've also learned from Mr. Raj Kapoor. Started on the shoot itself, you know, to be sure, unlike today, where people shoot on digital and they shoot different angles, you know, different takes. We could not afford that. We were shooting on film. So we had to be sure of what we were shooting and where it would start and where it would finish. So that required a lot of thinking for you to decide. But having said that, at times after having shot it that way, you did realize that you needed to add or subtract things. You know, I think that's where the editor came in. And working within the framework of what is in your hand, you have to manipulate that. Raja would, if he needed a particular shot, which he didn't have, though he had covered the whole thing with shooting, but suddenly he felt I need a shot of the Ninder in Nanam Joker. We didn't have that shot. So he said, get me any shot of the Ninder from any take, from any scene, in any costume, any location. I just want to close up. So I was very intrigued. And I saw him putting that shot in, you know, in another scene, another location, and when he ran it, we never saw the difference. And his explanation was bang on. He said, if your narration is correct, nobody is going to think about these things.
Okay.
But if the narration goes wrong, then you get caught. In fact, at times when you have 2 or 3 characters together, if you had a shot of one character and the character standing just next to him, a major character, had nothing to speak, he would avoid that character in the frame. And he would say it's better not to have this character because he's an important character and the audience would expect him to say something.
Yes.
Or they expect him to react. So, you go by the explanation to the audience, because in cinema, the audience is only going to react on what they see. They will never tell you, where does this man go? If they ask you this question, where does that man go? That means they have lost interest in your film. The interest has gone away.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Of my times were called films. Films of today are called trash. That's the only basic difference. Because we are not shooting films now. We are shooting numbers. We are only interested with a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the numbers is what matters. The creativity has got lost. We are dependent on people with computers who claim that artificial intelligence tells them whether the script is correct or not. I mean, I find that very strange. Cinema needs, yes, because calculations, things are necessary to make money, but the number one thing is that you need to have your creativity in place. And whatever the difference may be, everything takes a circle and comes back again. This year we had a spate of successful films. The pundits had said that films will never be successful this year. It will be the worst year for the Indian film industry. I think this has been the best year for the Indian film industry. So the creativity in films will come back. It is gradually coming back. There are some people who are doing very, very good work. And I think people who are convinced that their work is good and who have a dream like the gentleman did as a makeup artist. He was really very confident about that. I think that's the kind of confidence one needs to go ahead with.
In the book you have written something like this, that he could say anything and everything that boldly itself in the at set itself. If you wanted some perfection out of any actor, actresses, or any crewman of his film. So actually this book is like an eye-opener for all of us who already, actually we had a notion that he's a showman, he's a stylish and royal gentleman, but actually what a good person he is in and out. So this book is just an insight to that thing of Ratsa. And I have read that book and I have written a review of this book which is published in this Cine magazine. So I